Hi everyone, I'm Changhee, and thanks for tuning in. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to play an effective piano reduction. However, they're often written to be extremely awkward or just impossible to play. But our goal is to get from here to here. So this is what I call the 3 R's to make your life simpler when dealing with a complicated score. Reduce, redistribute, and rewrite. Reduce. If you find any tricky ornaments or parallel thirds, sixths, or octaves, it's totally fine to drop them. Complex rhythms can be smoothed out into simpler ones. You can even just play on the downbeats, if you like. However, regardless of what and how you decide to reduce, make sure that you preserve the harmony, melody, and the pulse, most importantly. So let's take an example. Here's an excerpt that could really use some reduction. This is from the Hallelujah chorus of Handel's Messiah. First, I'll play it slowly as written. I think the difficult parts are obvious. So I would drop the octaves and some of the inner voices in the right hand. And I've condensed the 16th notes into single eighth notes. So here's a possible reduced version of the same excerpt. Redistribute. Instead of dropping notes, we move them around to make them more playable. For example, if you have a widely spaced chord that is difficult or impossible to play with 2 hands, you could revoice the chord, for example, by shifting notes by an octave. In addition, if you find that one hand is working hard while the other hand is hardly working, you can divide the workload more evenly between the hands so that it becomes more manageable. In this Haydn string quartet example, I have a widely spaced chord shown in the boxes here. Okay, so it's a wide spread. So I'm going to move the G viola up an octave. Okay, much easier. So now as we go along, notice that the violin part is very active while the cello part is static. So the left hand can cover the other string parts. That's another way to redistribute. Rewrite. Sometimes reduction and redistribution run the risk of oversimplifying. So instead of dropping or moving notes around, it's more effective to change a figuration. One really common rewriting technique is to change repeated notes into tremolos. String and wind players can quickly repeat a note easily. It's not as natural for pianists. Another possibility for rewriting is if one instrument doubles another or the piano reduction omits an essential part from the original full score. You can add some parts back in, as long as they're manageable. So in this string excerpt, here's an example where we can rewrite repeated notes into tremolos. Becomes In addition, although the score only shows one line in the cello bass part, it actually sounds doubled an octave lower, so I would play that part an octave lower. And I would play it in octaves for larger note values if I can, to get a more accurate contour of the texture. So just to recap, here are your 3 R's for simplifying a score: reduce, redistribute, and rewrite. Besides piano reductions, you can also apply the 3 R's when sight reading. It's better to leave out a few notes and stay in time than to miss a beat trying to get all the right notes. There is no single correct way to play a reduction. It's very personal and depends largely on your playing ability and musical taste. In any case, playing a reduction is a skill that takes practice. In part 2 of this video, I'll show you a more extended example for playing a reduction. So if you liked this tutorial and found it helpful, please give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.